When President Biden came here, and like all Israelis, we were fearful, we felt saved, we were thankful. But I remember that as he left, he said, and Hamas doesn't represent the Palestinians. And I immediately thought, oh, this is a sentiment that we will be paying for. And it's actually important to immediately make it clear that Hamas represents the deepest Palestinian desire for there not to be a Jewish state. They are the most brutal and successful executors of that Palestinian vision. And in the book, I invented a word called West-plaining, which, like mansplaining, is the same attitude. It's when Western journalists and diplomats explain away what Palestinians have very clearly said. So after October 7th, Palestinians are rooting for Hamas, and they're proud, and they say it's wonderful. And the West goes, Hamas doesn't represent the Palestinians. And the Palestinians go, but they do, they actually do. And Westerners go, no, they don't. And again, one of the things I'm most proud of in the work that I've done over the years and in this book is that I continue to give Palestinians the respect of taking them at their word. Now, you talked about maybe people in Gaza can't speak up. But where is anybody else anywhere? In Columbia, at Harvard, in London, in Brussels. I've been giving this talk for years. And a bit like you said about Westerners, a lot of people said, but don't the people of Gaza want a different future for their children? And they think they just want like a good, go to college and all that. And I always tell them, this is the better future that they want for their children, the future from the river to the sea. In the name of that future, they're willing to fight, they're willing to sacrifice, they're willing to keep fighting and not build a prosperous Gaza. In the name of this ideal, they're transforming Gaza into a launch pad to liberate Palestine. And then I give talks to many student groups, and I feel them as I speak. They begin to rebel, and they say, you're generalizing. You know, just like there's a lot of views in Israel, there's a lot of views among Palestinians. And I always tell them, look, I've made it so easy to take me down. My argument is so vulnerable to a takedown precisely because I insist on this broad argument. And I tell them, look, you think I'm wrong? Go, bring me a Palestinian who publicly and in their own voice, because of West-plaining, I refuse to have any Westerner or Israeli who tells me I know such Palestinians. I'm like, no. The only thing that matters is what they say openly, publicly, in their own voice, and it has to be clear. When I worked with Shimon Peres, during the 90s, there was this reigning idea that to make peace, we need constructive ambiguity. Let's just fudge the issues, sign an agreement, trust will build. It was the commanding idea. I've become a proponent of constructive specificity. Let's be very, very clear. So to know that the path to peace is open, what I need to hear from a Palestinian is this. The Jewish people as a people have the equal right to self-determination in this land, which is also their homeland. I know that this means that we can build a state of Palestine next to the Jewish state of Israel and not instead of it. I understand that this means that living in Gaza and the West Bank, I am not a refugee from Palestine. This means I do not possess a right of return into the sovereign state of Israel. I only want to build a prosperous state of Palestine in Gaza and the West Bank and nowhere else. And I always tell them, go, bring me. And no one ever comes back. And just to be clear, it's not that I'm sitting and saying, oh, look at me, you know, no one ever comes back. As I said, I'm a long-term peace activist. I'm looking for these voices. I follow what you publish. They say a lot of things. They're angry at Hamas. They refuse to participate in what Hamas is doing. I'm not yet hearing that.